It's Tuesday the 1st of April 2014, it's 6 o'clock, it's live, we are at Anfield FM, and once again we are in the Sandon offices. I'd like to thank Lorraine once again for hospitality. Today is a very special show for ourselves at Anfield FM. We are joined by Stevie again, and Sheila and Ian, all representatives of the Hillsborough Justice Campaign and Hope for Hillsborough. For myself, I'm very honoured to have all these people sitting around the microphone today. It's just a privilege to have you all there, so I'd like to thank you all for coming. I'd like to start off with the Reds before we go on. 2 down, 6 to go, and we will be champions of the Premier League. It's scary how far to think we've come in 18 months since Brendan come over. Tottenham on Sunday was a massive statement of intent. You think back to the Sunderland game on Wednesday, there was nerves, there was anxiousness, the whole stadium was on edge. Sunday there was none of that. First minute, front foot, bang, straight out the gates. 1-0 up after 2 minutes, albeit your own goal, and it just set the tone for the rest of the game. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. Ian?
Yeah, since Brendan took over, I'll be the first to admit I was one of the doubters. Really didn't know that much about the fella, but it looks like Fenway Sports is the way to go. We've got a great team of a backbone of English players, which I always prefer myself. They're young, so can we win it? I agree. Yeah, I reckon it's all in our hands now. I think the maths are, if we win our last 6 games, we can achieve it and win the Premiership. So hopefully we do.
Steve?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm hoping though. I mean, I've always liked Brendan. I just hope that he gets the backing of the owners when it comes down to spending a few bob, because once we get this European football, which is pretty much guaranteed nailed on now, and if we can top that with the league as well, then surely they've got to massively back him.
I think you're right in what you're saying there, but I don't think once this Standard Chartered deal kicks in, which Ian was predominantly banging on about for 2 years previous, I think they've got no other option. We've done nothing in January, and still to be in this position, I think it's just remarkable. It's the old saying, we basically played the season with 15 players because there's been no one else. There's been no depth in depth.
I think because we didn't spend in the January window, I was a bit concerned myself that you think we've heard it all before with these Yanks. They come in, they give us empty promises, and I was a bit concerned myself. But I think the way he spent the money's been well. Last year we bought in January, it was Coutinho and Sturridge. It just goes to prove that you don't have to go spending 20 odd million, 30 million to get a great player. We've got 2 great players there that cost less than 25 million between them.
That's just credit to Rodgers and his scouting at the time. Ultimately doing nothing this January was a massive disappointment, but then disappointments have gone, they're long gone. The Reds are top of the league, we win every game, the title's ours, it's that simple. There's nothing else really to say. West Ham Sunday, it's not going to be easy. Sam Rice absolutely hates us, doesn't he? And he does nothing more than to put a stop on our title tracks.
Yeah.
Sheila, anything to add?
Well, I think it's about believing, and there's a high degree of positivity around at the moment. I think that it's about holding your nerve now, and obviously as a lifelong Liverpool supporter, I think there's got to be some collective holding of nerve as nerves become frayed towards the end of the season as the games go on. In respect to the future, I mean, when it comes to the owners, whoever they are, whether they're American or whoever, it boils down to economics. And I think long term, if the success comes, if the American owners, John Henry and let's see Liverpool top of the league, then they will become more viable option to invest in the future for.
So I'd just like to, obviously before we move on to our Hillsborough discussion, Spine Cup 1906 lads, for the Man City game at home, they will have a justice display like they do every home game around the 15th of April. I'd just like to say Dominic Dunn has just walked through the door as well. Dominic will be giving his tribute to Anne a bit later on in the show. So we'd just like to thank him for coming as well. Right, just while I was on the subject of football, we've got an Evertonian on the show. We've got Steve Kelly. Obviously, Steve lost his brother at Hillsborough. Everyone knows Steve's on the Hillsborough Justice campaign. He proudly wears his Everton colours on every Liverpool home game. You know, nothing more needs to be said about the fella, but are your Tricky Blues going to get 4th place?
Well, I think it's bang on. It's nailed on already. No, seriously, it would be absolutely fantastic this year. I think be a fitting tribute to the '96 if he's won the league, and you know, from one Evertonian anyway. You know, I hope you do, and I hope we get 4th place and see it in the Champions League final. One of the lads just I phoned one of the lads before. I said, "Could you direct me to the passport office?" So we're on our way, you know.
You know, obviously from our own point of view, you play Arsenal on Saturday. You know, you can Sunday, so you can beat them. But then 2 weeks down the line, you play City at home as well. When we're away to Palace. Sorry, second last game of the season. Sorry. You know, if you beat City to guarantee your top 4 and hand us the title on the way, more power to you.
I don't say we don't do any favours, you know.
Bailing in the springtime is beautiful.
Right, I've got plenty to talk about. I don't really know where to start for the best, but on a positive note, I'd like to go to Ian and Steve. Can you just tell us what the BBC Sports Personality Awards were like when he went to obviously recognise Anne's fight?
Yeah, well, Sheila came along as well. It was, as you all know, Anne Williams was awarded the Helen Mollison Awards, and you know, this is like some previous winners have been like Bob Champion, Michael Watson. So these are all people that have achieved great things, and Frank Williams, that was another one who achieved great things. And I think when Anne was awarded it was also for the work that she did, not for with the For Justice campaign, but also with the Hope for Hillsborough and the Hillsborough Family Support. It was like a collective for the 25 years of work that she's been done. So it was a great day. Loads of celebrities were a bit starstruck. I'll tell you a little story. Dickie Bird was there, you know, the cricketer fella. He came up to us and he said that he was on Stevie's show, and we were like, what do you mean? And he thought Stevie was Paul O'Grady. Stop it!
And he did as well. He did as well. I was devastated. Absolutely devastated.
It was the
I was.
flock.
So yeah, it was, we went to the town hall. Loads of celebrities that, you know, they come up and said, you know, that they're divine and the work that she'd done. So it was a great evening.
It was obviously, you know, the immense pride must have been seeping through the whole family and, you know, the campaign Hope for Hillsborough in general, just to be recognised on that scale. You know, obviously, when the awards come around, I think a lot of Liverpool fans, and myself including this, had doubts about how tasteful the BBC were going to do it, but, you know, Sue Johnson stepped up to the fort, and it was just an absolutely brilliant tribute what she'd done, and I don't think there was anyone up and down the land who could have done it as well as what she did.
I think, can I just say as well, another award which people mightn't be so aware of because it wasn't so publicised, was after the September the 12th, and Anne was still alive. Anne, the Hillsborough Justice Campaign and the Hillsborough Family Support Group were nominated for a Human Rights Award, the Long Walk to Justice, from Liberty, the human rights organisation. And Anne was obviously too ill to attend, but I spoke to her before we went down to London, and we were nominated with others, so we didn't know if we were going to win. We were up against the Mau Mau litigants who'd been campaigning since the 1950s and an asylum seekers' long struggle, and it was a really it was really prestigious in terms of the lawyers and everything around justice. Anyway, I'd spoken to Anne beforehand, and Anne had said, you know, should we be lucky enough to win it, she was happy for me to speak on her behalf, and we did win it. It was the final award of the night, and we won it. And what was good was, because this was in the November, and the inquest verdicts hadn't been quashed, and Dominic Grieve, the Attorney General, was there and was on the front row. So when I spoke in accepting the award, I was able to flag up, because Anne had the memorial into the Attorney General at the time, and actually, you know, we re-emphasised how ill Anne was, and we're able to basically nobble him and say, can you know, look, you know, this has to be done quickly. And in fairness, I have to say that afterwards he waited behind and spoke to me and said, you know, I can assure you I'm doing everything I can to try and make this happen, get this to the court quickly. And you know, Anne was still alive and was able to attend the in London with others when the inquest verdict was quashed in December. So the thing is, I think it's so important that, you know, sort of in terms of awards, that she was still alive and she knew she had received that Human Rights Award as well, which I think is very significant.
Very much so. Very much so. Can you just say if, you know, any of the ex-Liverpool players, what they actually said to you when you were on the stage receiving the award?
Well, I wasn't. We weren't actually on the stage.
No, but I mean, obviously, you know, you would have found out or what they said.
No, we didn't really speak to any of them, or I think like whatever was said, you know, the family have kept it to themselves, because maybe they were private comments that were said. But as I said, a lot of the sports people did come up and say, you know, that especially Barry McGuigan, he's donated stuff over the years, like, you know, boxing gloves and like keep on punching.
Yeah.
So like I think he was there. There was who was the fellow? Carl Frock.
Carl Frock.
Yeah.
Carl Frock asked about it as well.
Yeah.
He was on to him for a while about it.
His wife's from Liverpool, isn't she?
Yeah.
You'd be in touch with what's going on.
Yeah. But he was
Did
really good.
Did the actual overall night, the emotion actually get to you to think how big it actually is getting now to be recognised on that scale?
Yeah, it was a very emotional night. Like I said, what was her name? Sue Johnson was at the I don't know, from Brookside as what was her name?
Sheila.
That was it. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
She's a barber from the other family.
Yeah, but yeah, that evening, and you know, the speech that she did at the beginning, you know, I just had a lump of the goosebumps all over me, and it was a fitting tribute to her.
100%. As I said, you know, when I watched them on the telly, I don't think they could have picked anyone else, actor, to have done it as well as what Sue did. It was absolutely, you know, it was very, very an emotional speech. Anything else you want to add on that before you just move on to the next topic? No? Sound right. Obviously, the September 2014, the Hillsborough panel released the report. The 12th of September. Thanks, Paul. Can you just tell us what it was like on that day, Steve?
Well, the biggest thing I remember about the panel report was the Hillsborough Justice Campaign meeting with all the officers who were dealing with it throughout, and the high levels of expectation, I think, that the whole city were going through about what the panel was going to release. And my fear personally, not as a campaigner, but just as a person myself, was were we going to expect too much from the panel? And then when we went to the cathedral on the morning, I remember we all went in and we were all nervous, and you know, the way you are expecting these kind of things. And sort of my fears went, and I think a lot of ours did, and you just heard a little squeak from the back, and John Glover came in, and you could just see it lifted people, you know, because we knew that's how the fight had been. He was seriously ill at the time, and to think that he got off his real sick bed to get up and, you know, give that last little bit of fight for his son. It was amazing to watch, and it lifted us all. And I think we all were in quite good spirits then. And then the bishop started to read out some of the information, and then Phil Scraton took over, and the actual level of what was coming out, it shocked everybody. You know, it was, you could feel, I've always described it as you could feel people's uncomfortableness, you know, grabbing paper, and you could hear tears and sniffle, and a couple of people fainted, movements in chairs, it was really powerful. And then, you know, we went down as families and campaigners into a room and started to try and digest it a little bit. And then some of the survivors came in with us who worked along the side in the HJC shop all these years, and it just started to sink in how monumental it was, that piece of work. You know, and then it's just gone on since then, and bringing us to where we are today. It really was
I think that I think it was a day that will obviously last forever in people's memories, and I think it is significant that, you know, what Steve just said about John Glover coming in a wheelchair. So two very significant things: 12th of September 2012. The hip report, John Glover, you know, off his deathbed, literally in a wheelchair. The inquest verdicts being quashed in December 2012. Anne Williams in a wheelchair. This was the toll the fighting for justice had taken on good people. This was the price they were prepared to pay. And I think for me, I believe that that throughout, from when the panel was established, we were pretty, at the Justice Campaign, pretty hard line, as I know Anne was as well, in terms of believing you couldn't take your foot off the pedal. So, because I know what Anne was doing, I know what we were doing, and I believe we got the report we did because we kept that pressure on, because we constantly challenged and kept challenging what was happening, and what we did as a group. And so I think we got the report we got because we never stopped. We didn't sit back and go, oh, these people are dealing with it. We kept on, and, you know, meeting after meeting, writing things, and it was a very, and the idea was you went into a room, a side room, so you could read the report and, you know, digest it. No chance. You stood no chance at all, because everyone was just so, and I thought I was beyond being shocked. And the two things, and I know I've said this before, but the two things that shocked me most was that the number of people that could have survived, because we knew, and I knew from working with Anne when we'd gone to Dr. Ian West and actually with Steve's brother's post-mortem with his sister, that lives could have been saved. But we didn't have access. We had limited access only to judicial review families back in 1993. But that number shocked me, that so many, 41. And the other thing that shocked me was where there was no blood alcohol level in some of the victims, the police accessed the police national computer to see if those people had criminal records. What was going on? So you see, the thing is, for me, is they were the two shocking things. And you just went through the day, because we were kind of ferried to St George's Hall then, weren't we, for a service there, and to see people of the city who supported you coming out in such numbers. And for me, probably the biggest shock of that day, I have to say, was when Anne came into the cathedral, was because I was aware of how ill John Glover was. I was unaware of just how ill Anne was till that day. She hadn't been diagnosed, but her illness was obvious, and that was a real shocking day for me on that level. Yeah.
Steve?
The day that report came out, I had a ITV crew followed me for the day. Well, when I say they didn't follow me, they took us to a hotel room, or they took me to a hotel room, and they wanted me to film David Cameron's speech, because that came out first, if I remember right. It was David Cameron came out and done his apology, and they wanted a reaction for that. And then not long after that, then we waited for the panel's report, and that come out then. And I must be honest, I never held personally great faith in the panel, given the decision that they would. You know, I'd be a liar if I said it did, because I didn't. But I was totally shocked by the strength of it and how good it was, if you like. It, you know, it backed up what we'd been saying for years and years and years. And I never dreamt it would be as powerful as it was. So for me, it was a fantastic day. I was so pleased, if you like, that everybody been trying to get across, everybody had been saying for years, and people wouldn't take any notice to it, people wouldn't believe it, and there it was for the world to see. So I was absolutely delighted that day. I was absolutely made up.
Is that more because the actual, you know, you said before, the fight that you've gone on, you're telling people blue in the face what had happened that day and no one actually believed you. Now this report's come out and now all of a sudden them Scousers were right all along. Was it more of an actual, wow, what's happened, no one could believe it type thing?
For me it was because I thought, time after time, I don't know, I mean, we've all done them. We've done, you know, interview after interview with TV stations, with newspapers, with different channels, and time after time they've listened to what you've had to tell them. But when it's actually come to following it through and putting it out there, time after time they panic, or they're legal. It was always our legal team have looked at it and we can't do it. So it was never getting out there, even though we were telling people time after time. It just was not getting out there.
I know what
it did with the panel.
Sorry to interrupt. Anne used to get really frustrated because people would do things with her, like programmes, whatever, and she'd say, "Oh no, they were really good," and then they would edit or water things down so much. Very few were courageous, but I think we've got to go back a long way, and it's bizarre to say it, but one of the most courageous in terms of doing stuff was the Cook Report years ago, and that really did move things forward, and it really did, because it raised the issues, and because of his inimitable style, Roger Cook really doorstepped the main people. It was amazing, and that really did progress things in a climate when no one was listening to us.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. What Stevie and Sheila said is that I was with Anne on countless interviews with reporters. You know, they sit there and they're nodding and they've got the little dictaphone, or they're there making notes, and you know, Anne would tell them about the cover-up and to the extent of the cover-up. But when you come to read the article in the paper the next day or a few days later, as Stevie said, the legal teams either said, "Oh, you can't go printing that," and I think one of the expressions that Anne always used was, "It's a can of worms," and which it is now. You know, it's the notebooks. Even now, they're still finding new notebooks that, you know, that should have been submitted to the panel. What, you know, this cover-up, it's just going on and on and on, and I'm just hoping that with these new inquests, you know, we do get to the bottom of it, and those who are responsible, they're exposed, and that they, you know, they get what they deserve, because the families have fought so long for this, and the way they've been treated over the 25 years, it's just shambolic.
Yeah, you just got me on to the next point here. Obviously the inquests, we actually can't talk about the inquests for legal reasons, but just as your campaign groups, can you tell me what you actually have done leading up to the inquest to hopefully get the results we all want?
Well, one of the things is it's just getting it out there in the public. You know, there's still people in Liverpool, and you know, this really gets them. You know, they'll buy the Sun. Now the HJC has had a campaign for 20 odd years. Don't buy the Sun. Yeah, people just need to be educated about what they did. You know, and it's come out in the Hips report. You know, the lies. You know, that wasn't the truth and all that. So it's just getting out there and getting in people's faces and getting them to publish, you know, the facts. You know, it's and like when she was writing to the police for under the data protection or subject to data, she said, "Well, there's your file. That's all you've got." Whereas she'll write 2 years later, there'll be something new in there. So what's going on there? Why didn't she have it 2 years down the line when she submitted it? But like I say, I don't know whether I'm going into a bit of a naughty area that I shouldn't be speaking about. It's difficult.
I think it's difficult, and I think we're all sitting here kind of a little bit gagged, and it is difficult because none of us want to be held responsible. But the point Ian made about, you know, sometimes about educating people and about the don't buy the Sun, even the very fact of the coroner, you know, ruled on contempt and what is contempt in relation to the inquest, and it was followed by guidelines from the Attorney General, very clear. The point I want to make is so particular in respect of social media, Facebook and Twitter. the point Ian made around sort of people still believing the lies, if you like, you know, sort of beyond, has really been brought to the fore, because even now people are tweeting things around Liverpool fans and around Hillsborough. I reported, I just keep reporting to Twitter, and I know there's other people on Twitter who are passing it on to the Attorney General, because some of the things I saw on, for the last week, people have sent me things which, some of them are actually disgusting. There's been obscene stuff, but really, really bad stuff. And we're all playing by the rules here. We're all, you know, you can hear it in our voices, we're all really sensitive. And there's provocation out there. People are trying to provoke, and I would recommend.
Sorry, is that just the general public or people in like
it's
media
not,
and things?
It's no. This is like kind of just anonymous people and some not so anonymous on Twitter, but on Facebook. But what I would say is, and anyone listening in, don't rise to it. If you see this stuff on Facebook or Twitter, report it to Twitter and Facebook, and then report it to the Attorney General, because it'll stop when someone gets prosecuted. And for us, I think the thing is that, we're glad we've got, from the HJC point of view, I'm sure Steve will agree, is that we're glad we've got to this stage. But we've got to this stage, as the analogy I used before, because we never took our foot off the pedal, and we can't do that now. Now, more than we're working within confines of what we can and can't say, what we can and can't do. But nevertheless, the pressure's really on now, because we do want it to be we do want the inquest to be a rigorous inquiry. We don't want it like what happened before. But we are on the ball, and I think that we are, and I'm sure that there'll be a consensus here, is that we are very happy with our legal team. We share the same legal team, and they're consummate professionals, and they have professional reputations for not being scared and for challenging the establishment and challenging the issues. So families are going in with confidence they didn't have last time, because last time round there wasn't that confidence in the legal team all those years ago, for good reasons. As someone who sat through the inquest all those years ago, if ever families were sold down the river, it was by their own legal representatives. And so I just think there's a degree of confidence. We're not naive in all this, but to know we've got good people with us, it is reassuring. Steve, I'm sure you'd agree.
Yeah, but I think just going back to like the panel report, I think the panel's report held back the doubters into a corner. They had nowhere to go. There was always that question: did he do this? Were he drunk? Were he whatever? The panel report has since cleared all that, and as the more and more evidence is coming out, it's proven it even more. I mean, in the HJC shop alone, I'll take calls many times. People phone you up from all over the country saying to you, I'm sorry we didn't support you. And I say, no, you don't have to be sorry. Just look at yourself, look up, read up on it. Wait till the evidence comes out, then judge us. Don't prejudge us, judge us afterwards. And that's happening.
What I thought was brilliant about the HIPS report, and just, you're right here, you can't digest that in 20 minutes or whatever, but that morning or midday, whatever, and opening the first few pages and seeing the report starting in 1981, it backs up what Steve just said. Instead of all the bollocks about Gates and drunk and all the rest of it, it actually started at the right point. This happened in 1981 and was narrowly avoided. A Hillsborough disaster, narrowly avoided in 1981, and that's the genesis. In fact, earlier than that, there was other incidents as well, but that was the main incident.
Yes. And
that, to me, what the HIP report did, what Steve's right, it laid the groundwork for the truth, and to cut out all of the lies and the crap. This is what happened, not this nonsense that you got given by the Sun and the government.
Believe that.
And just finally, just say that in relation to what Steve was saying before, and Steve Hart, his reaction to it is that I think for people, we'd been around for years, a lot of that report, there were the shocking elements, but a lot of it was us going, yes, this is what we've been saying for years. And then when we went to for the inquest verdict being quashed, I looked across to Anne Williams in a wheelchair. I'd been there before with her in 1993 with Steve Kelly's sister, who has since died. We were there, and a lot of the arguments, Dominic Grieve, the Attorney General, so unusual for an Attorney General to turn up himself to present a case. He turned up in person to present that case as to why the verdicts should be quashed. And the reasons he gave were a lot of the reasons we presented to the same court in 1993. That says to me, and you look at Anne and you saw the toll that those intervening years had taken on her, but what it says is this all happened within a political framework, within a paradigm, and it was never going to happen then. The context was all wrong. It just wasn't going to happen. And, that's it. There was a passage of time.
Just not before, and say halfway point of your song, I'm going to bring Dominic in a minute to do his song. Obviously, the Reading Chronicle last week presented the story, which was basically taken from the Sun. Lies. If any of you put a written complaint in about that and made it well aware what went on. I know obviously since then they've apologised, the journalist has been sacked and fined or whatever else, but as groups, have you done anything about that?
No, to be honest with you, I only saw something about that on a social media
website. I sent an email.
Yeah.
I sent an email to the paper, but the thing is, see, again, it's after the horses, the horses bolted again. They've put it out there, total utter lies again, and people who want to believe just jump on it. It didn't take long for them to come out with it again.
To be fair, though, from my point of view, I just think it's total ignorance, because basically the truth's out now. There's been an official document released on everything that's been on, and yet a national paper or a regional paper are still printing it.
Yeah, but that's
I don't think it's ignorance.
It's about educating them, isn't it?
Yeah.
People need to be educated about it.
I just think it's lazy.
I don't think it's ignorance. I think it's prejudice. And I think that I was contacted by someone at the Echo asking me, and that was the first I'd heard about it, and I said something about it. I think where it shifted was when John Majeski, is that his name? Yeah, the guy. I think when he come out and disassociated and went, we're not doing anything with you again. They had a problem on their hands, which said a lot. That was a statement in itself. And as far as I'm aware, I think our lawyers did put a complaint in. I think a complaint has gone in.
I think there has been complaints put in.
Yes.
People have emailed.
The apology didn't really apologise to the Hillsborough groups at all, did it? He apologised for upsetting Reading fans and Reading FC and anyone else who was affected by what we said, which was outrageous.
But he was suspended, so it shows actions have consequences, and I hope this continues to happen with those people who are tweeting. I hope that they need to see the consequences of their actions, and that'll stop other people doing similar.
Sounds right. I'm trying to ring in Dominic in now. Dominic's turned up. Stay over here. Right, sound. Obviously Dominic has produced the single Angel in memory of Anne. Just a little info how the song come about, please, Dom.
I was asked to do a gig in the taxi club for the Scouse Reds and Norwegian Wolves, wasn't it?
You got it right this time.
I got it wrong in the last interview. But that was like 8:30 in the morning. And they asked us to come down and do a few covers and a few of my own stuff. And a week before the gig, Jason Morland's got in touch with me and asked if there was any way I could write a track in memory of Anne in a week. So I said, I'll try my best, and that's a bit of an ask to write a song in a week. But I got my head down, finished the song off just before the gig, and then played it in front of Anne's family and friends and everyone that was there.
Sound. Just obviously before you play the song, obviously it went on iTunes a couple of weeks ago. Do you know how many you've sold?
We don't.
You don't get sales figures from iTunes for at least 50 days. So we don't know anything. We did. Don't immediately hit the top of the singer-songwriter charts.
We got to number 2 in the singer-songwriter charts
at the point of release. But really, what we're all targeting is to be number 1 in the charts. It's probably unlikely, but number 1 or as high as we can at the anniversary. So for going for the start of the campaign, you hit number 2 straight away. But really, we want to get back up the charts, the iTunes charts or whatever charts, towards the 15th. And hopefully people are going to listen now. It's available on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on Google Play, it's on Amazon, it's everywhere. It's 59p, 69p, 79p. We need really everyone to get behind it and buy it and support it, because what you're about to hear now is a beautiful, just a beautiful song.
Shout. No more introduction needed, Tom.
I will just say one more thing as well. Credit to Dominic as well, because not only did he write the song, perform the song, and he's done a million interviews repeating what you just asked him, he's already signed the rights of the song over to Full Justice, the written performance and the recorded performance. And he's only a young fella himself, making his way in the music business. If he wants to be a lawyer, actually, but what a lot of credit to the young man for doing that.
100%. Go ahead, Tom, mate.
This song's called The Angel.
Ooh, the angel fell. She has cast a spell on me. Ooh, the news it broke. She began to choke, and then she said, please don't take my boy away when I'm not there to save the day. Please don't take my boy away when I'm not there to save the day. Ooh, the angel fell. She has cast a spell on me. She caused their demise. She drove through all the lies, and then she said, please don't take my boy away when I'm not there to save the day. Please don't take my boy away when I'm not there to save the day. Ooh, the angel fell, and she has cast a spell on me. Ooh, the news it broke. The truth has made it choke, and then she said, you have torn my boy away when I could not save the day. You have torn my boy away when I could not save the day. Please don't take my boy away and I'm not there to save the day. Ooh, the angel fell, and she has cast a spell on me.
outstanding, Dom. Brilliant. Brilliant. Are you sticking around for the rest of the show, or have you got to shoot? Right, Paul told us before that you're actually Evertonian, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a blue.
Get out.
Ah, you're blue, yeah. Bosses don't want to sound the dark side of the room over here.
The singers are blue.
I just want to let Dom sort himself out and have a little chat with him in a minute. Halfway point of the show, as always, it's time for Bet of the Week from the lads at Punter's Corner. It comes from Aintree on Thursday in a Fox Hunters. Now, the weights and declarations aren't out till tomorrow. So if you get on this, write it down, and then as soon as the odds are out tomorrow, jump all over. It's Mosey Joe. Apparently it was bought for £135,000, which apparently the horse at this age is a lot of money. It was supposed to go in the National, but apparently it's a year too young for that. So it's gone in the Fox Hunters, and because it has more chance of winning. So again, there's no odds out for it yet, but as soon as they are tomorrow, make sure you jump all over it. Again, it's Mosey Joe.
Is that a horse or a punter?
Apparently it's a horse. Well, as I say, the lads give us the one in Cheltenham for the anti-post, and that romped on before he, and so the lads are worth a little dabble. Right, I'd just like to talk about the service, if I can. Obviously, the service myself, I haven't been for the past couple for numerous reasons. I don't really want to talk about that now, but as your campaign group, do you have actually any say with what happens at Anfield?
No. In short, no. But we, for me personally, I just think that however anyone gets through that day, you got to respect them, because it's a very personal day for people, that loss and that special day, the day they lost their lives. But in terms of the service at Anfield, we don't have any say. What we've done from the Justice campaign, since we were up in the other shop in Oakfield Road originally, and now opposite the ground, people congregate outside our shop earlier, and at about 1:15 we walk in procession, and we have done this every year, to the Eternal Flame, where we lay a wreath and where we say a few words to mark the day and to respect people. And we then, that allows then time, it ends in time for people who wish to go into the service. So it's not in competition, never has been. It's supplementary. It's something that we do as our own little thing. Some of us then go back to the HJC. Like you, I don't go to the service and haven't gone for several years. But I do go back to the HJC shop, which, as Steve will contest, is a very busy day, a very traumatic day, and people do drift in. When the main service is going on, we always have people in the shop, because people drift in. There's people who can't just bring themselves to go in, or there's people who come out distressed, and it's sort of become an obvious place to go, hasn't it? And very often that day we pick up people who over the years, who you learn to read signs, but very often people who have being a Hillsborough, very often out of town people who've never told anyone. We've encountered people who've started to talk to us, and they've said they're married now with children. They've never even told their wife they were a Hillsborough, and it's a little bit like a watershed. They almost lead this different life, and it's just about offering support. People will sit in the garden, or they'll go upstairs. So we just have the place open, and people drift back after the service for tea and coffee and just a general chat. But no, we don't have any input, and that's the bottom line.
Does that annoy you, that you have no input?
I don't think it's my right on a personal level to say, because I didn't mean anything, but I do think
because it's organised by the Hillsborough Family Support Group, and they're there to, as a supporting of the families, where there's there to support the families and organise the event. Where I'm guessing like the HJC, it's more about campaigning, getting it out there.
No, I disagree slightly, Ian, because I agree with you totally. That is what it's about campaigning and getting it out there. But in relation to that day, my view, for what it's worth, is that it hurts me when I see families I know who are hurt by not feeling part of it. Last year, Anne Williams, it was her the last time I saw Anne was last year on the 15th of April, and you know she wasn't going to go. The day before, we didn't think she'd go. The day before, we had the unveiling of the monument down by the tunnel, and she was trying to get to that, and we really wanted her there, and she was too ill. But somehow she found the strength, and she come here, and I know she was ferried to and fro. But you will know that her daughter Sarah had difficulty at the ticket office trying to get tickets to get in.
I think that, well, that's also down to organisation, isn't it? It's whether on the club side or...
But the club are emphatic that they play no role in organising this day.
No, that's correct. The club have always said that the service at Anfield is a family support group event.
Yeah.
And the club have said they play no part in that at all. I believe the Hillsborough Justice Campaign members, and families within and survivors have a lovely service outside. I always enjoy it, and you know it's meet old friends, and as Sheila quite rightly said, it's a great place to meet. We always try to get the garden nice for that time of year and get cakes and just try and make it a bit sort of special for people, make it comfortable, because that's the way they feel on that day, and you've got to try to make people comfortable. I'm pretty lucky because I've got 9 red-nosed mates, and they carry me around, and they help me in, and they'll take me over to Anfield, and then they'll take me back to the shop where, as Sheila said, we'll go in and have another cup of tea. And you know people have been sitting there throughout the service, because that's where they feel the happiest. And if that just gives some people comfort, great. And that's what we're there for. We're there for not just family members, survivors and supporters. Anyone can come in that shop on that day and feel part of it. And if that's the way they feel part of it, by just coming in and having a cup of tea, great. And the more the merrier. But what we do to walk around, it's a nice event.
Yeah, but going back to what Sheila says about, there are problems with when you're organising any event.
Yeah.
And as she said, Sarah did have problems with. She wasn't the only one as well. There's I'm aware of other family members who don't even get sent an invite or tickets. So maybe something they can look at, but
it's not your.
It's something they can address.
I think what was particularly tragic about last year was it was obvious to everyone, and it was very public that Anne was dying, and that Anne didn't have very long to live. It was obvious from looking at her, and it was made public. And I just think if ever someone cut someone some slack, cut a bereaved mother, and it just I find it very poignant, just because the last time I saw her was outside the ground with her brother Danny, and then we had a few words and I said goodbye. I knew it was the last time I'd ever see her, and I just felt, to be honest, aside from those close to her, she deserved to be treated better on that day.
I think they just, me personally, this was they could have mentioned John.
Yes.
Now John had passed away. It doesn't take 30 seconds to acknowledge someone who should be there, and whether Anne will get a mention, I don't know.
Steve, anything to add, mate?
No, I just like to add, I like the fact that the HJC shop is there on the day for all those people who survived Hillsborough, because I meet a lot of them on the day, because I never ever went to any of the memorials till the 20th, because Anne asked me to go, so I went to the 20th one. But every year now we meet them, and I speak to quite a few of them, obviously, and there's somewhere for them, there's a point for them to meet. There is nowhere for them. If that wasn't there, if you like, they'd sort of be forgotten, because they'd aimlessly be looking for some sort of focal point, somewhere to go, and if it wasn't for that, there'd be nowhere for them. No. And it disappoints me, and it hurts me that the HCC don't get at least an opportunity to say something on the day. Why not?
No,
it's not going to hurt anybody. Why not?
That's obviously listen to yourselves now, and I do get very, very frustrated and emotional on the anniversary. But listen to yourselves now, it just makes me really angry that the club don't recognise the work that you all do. Even on the pitch, Gerard gave his donation on the Derby Day. Now we can give that donation to everyone, so obviously it's common knowledge, he lost family members at Hillsborough as well. But make the £96,000 donation, but split it equally, because ultimately there is 3 groups all campaigning and wanting to do the right thing, and it just really grates on me that they don't get recognised. You know what I mean? And I say last year, me and Andy Twinney, we went to Sheffield for the memorial, and everything what happened that day is everything what you're there for too. You pay your respects. It was done in a very, very subtle and the correct way for me. You know, there was no hype around players, there was no people queuing up, photographs, there was none of that. It was everything it should have been. Now this year I can't get to Sheffield this year, so I'm going to go to Cathedral and just stay out the way, because if I go around Danfield and I see people queuing up to get in, I'll lose my temper, and it's not the time or the place to do it. So I think best stay away.
I think what you just said, Steve, is, I know I was in the shop on Sunday and there was a few people come in and said they want to go to Sheffield. Is anyone else going? So I directed them up to our chair, Kenny Derbyshire, because Kenny and a few people go over, and I've noticed that over the years increasingly people seem to want to go back to that point, and maybe because it's not so big that there's more of a solemnity about it, but like you, Steve, I think for me anyway, there's more of a spiritual element. I think that, you know, so going to the cathedral, or to be, you know, I've even thought about, you know, like our monument, just kind of, because there's something about that, and I know people gather around that, but just something that's, because that's where you'll see isolated people who don't want to be part of something, or they do but they can't face it, they don't know, and it's about picking those up, because people are in a very bad state at the moment. A lot of survivors, we know this, since the downside of the HIP report, whilst all survivors and people fought for the truth, the way it's impacted on them and all this emerging has really taken its toll on some of them. So you're very aware of the damage and the pain, the suffering that people are going through at the moment.
Could I just say that I think it's a good time to say this minute about the importance of the shop. We all know the shop has been under sort of threat over the years because of the regeneration in Anfield, and I'm not the one to try and stop that, but there needs to be the shop there somewhere within this regeneration. Ideal where it is now, or as close to the club as possible, because people do go there, and I mean, I as you said before, Steve, I'm there on match days. I don't go in to watch Liverpool, obviously, but I'll keep the shop door open, right. And there's always someone comes in for a cup of tea, and it might just be for the chat, but it might be for the serious chat, so we'll close the door, go and have a cup of tea, we'll say our words, and then you'll go home. And you take that facility away, there's nothing for people, so we need it. And that could be something for the future for survivors and family members to go there, and as Sheila said, and I think it'd be a lovely thing if we walked from the shop round to the Eternal Flame, then down to the monument and back. It'd be great. We could find some system ourselves to suit the families and survivors of those.
I think that the thing is that we are part of the community. We've, Jerry, who everyone knows from the shop, lives in the area. We respect the community, and we stayed with the community in dark days when the area is in need of regeneration, and we wouldn't want to step in the way of that, as Steve said. But as part of the community, we have a right to be in the community, and so we're just that's our negotiations, our battle that we've been doing around that, and we're more positive now on that front than we were a few months ago, and only time will tell. But obviously our concern was sometimes you don't want to fight on all fronts, and our priority was obviously the inquest, and we didn't need the stress of kind of trying to fight off being knocked down, but I'd like to think the council have seen sense on that one now.
But to be fair, you did take me off to the one point. I was going to ask what's going to happen to the shop.
Sorry about that.
It's also no problem. It's done with. Wave over it. I'd like to bring Stevie Hart in now, if I can, please. Obviously, the IPCC, before the inquest, put a statement out for people to come forward who made statements about what happened in '89. Now, I don't really want to talk about what happened in '89, but can you tell us how you found out your statements have been changed and how much had actually been changed? And be careful what you say, I understand, but give us, just say roughly what happened.
What I can say, I think,
it's not a problem. Yeah.
I think, to be honest, I don't think it'd be fair to compromise Steve on that one.
There's no need. We're having a very informative show anyway. So,
all right, no problem.
Just to say, Steve, while you're just doing that, a number of tweets just coming in on our Twitter. quite a number of people are saying we're going to Sheffield this year, we're going to Sheffield this year. And one lady has said it's become celebrity Hillsborough, talking about the.
Was it me that said that?
No,
It's normally me that
You haven't
says
tweeted
that.
that, have you?
No.
It's a lady called Suzanne on Twitter who's saying it's becoming celebrity
Yes.
Hillsborough at Anfield on the day, and the need for a more sobering memorial is spot on.
Yes.
He just had a text to off Keith from Spirit Shankly. He's listening to the show. He just said that the meeting we had downstairs at the Anfield Regeneration, the Spirit Shankly EGM, about actually promised that they would work with yourselves.
Yes, yeah.
And I think it was actually Mark Kitts who said that.
Yeah, and we'd had the meeting with him, and I think it's good that, you know, we made it very clear at that meeting that, you know, kind of that we do operate, we do have links with Spirit of Shankly, and we all try and help each other out when we can. So
Obviously, since Anne's sad passing, a lot of lads have done numerous things to keep Anne's memory alive. Obviously, we've done a golf day. Now it's come back around this July. Have you had any practicing, Ian, Steve?
I was one of the caddies, wasn't I? I'm a caddy, so
It was mine.
I was Stevie's caddy. I did a lot of walking that day, mainly zigzagging around the golf course, looking for. I went in with shoes full of sand
And water.
and water. But last year was an amazing day. You know, we had the sunshine, great bunch of lads. I think the first lad who teed off, everyone was watching him. He cracked it perfectly. But then I think it was the next one who teed off, wasn't it? He chopped it. But yeah, it was a great day. Fully enjoyed it, and looking forward to the next one.
Well, I'd say next one comes round on the 11th of July again this year. We've got 48 lads playing this year, so we've upped the ante a little bit. I'm back in training, got a title to defend.
That's it.
And I'm really looking forward to it. And also, as Dominic mentioned before, the Scousers versus Norwegian Wolves at the footy match again.
Yeah.
Was that a very good day as well?
Yeah, that was a great day. That was last year as well. That's where Don played at the Taxi Club.
Taxi Club, yeah.
We all went down to it was the Lifestyle Gym, wasn't it? On
Walton.
Walton off the East Lancs.
Yeah.
Went down there. I think they got battered, didn't they? The Wolves. It was like 7-0 or something. Was it? What was the final score?
No idea, mate.
Did that. Then went to the club. Dom did his song. It was a great evening. Fully enjoyed it, and hopefully, I don't know whether there's been talk about them going over there, but I think that may be a bit too expensive because of the cost of the ale over there.
Yeah.
But I've been told it's like £7 a pint.
So
it's cheaper for them to come over here.
Can you just tell us, obviously, since Anne's passing, what you actually do with the charity? You're actually the chair now, or you're the main person on the charity?
No, well, I'm one of 3 trustees of the charity. There's Sarah, her daughter's a trustee, and there's also a guy called Trevor Way. And basically, all we've done, what we've been done over the years is obviously to support the people that not everyone's working, you see. So there's also the survivors. There's also the family members. Now, some of the survivors have wanted to attend these inquests in London. Now, I think the rules are that only 3 family members can get paid for, don't they, by the government to attend these inquests. But that was the guidelines, wasn't it? Only 3 family members can attend.
Oh,
don't
in
they pay
terms
for.
of family members, not
really?
families.
Whereas, like, obviously, people have got like 3 or 4 in a family.
Yeah.
So we'll pay for them to attend. There's also like we do like little donations. There's Steve's doing a walk with some other people in the HJC from Sheffield to.
You stop wrong with questions.
Sorry, no, so you asked. So yeah, just to be honest with you, we've got limited resources. We have to keep the cash over a certain amount, or we lose charity status. So that's basically it. So we have to be limited of what we can pay out for.
Sound. Well, okay. As you mentioned the walk, I'll bring Sting in
Sorry.
now. It's no problem.
I'll just walk over, yeah.
Sound. Steve, tell us about your walk that you're doing, please, mate.
So what it was, last year there was a walk from Hillsborough to Anfield, and I'd actually damaged both my feet at the time, and I always like to try and get involved in some way. You know, there's lads run it and cycled and whatever, so I always try to sort of get involved as the way you're saying, well, you know, we do it with you type thing. And I mentioned it to people and I said I'd like to try and recreate it this year, because I knew I could have a go myself. And but the difference being that it was a non-fundraiser, because it was, we've had massive support for all these years, and you see people coming in the shop, and I mean, I wouldn't say I get embarrassed. I get humbled at seeing some of the things people do. Buying T-shirts and bands and putting a couple of quid in the bucket, whatever it be. And it really is humbling. So we just wanted to try and think of something different. So I thought, well, no fundraiser, just as a thank you, and got a group of people together, and tried to keep it local. Whereas like Arriva, the local bus company, and there's a company from Knowsley who've donated water, and another local company who've given us isotonic drinks, that kind of thing. A local lad has donated his time and all his facilities, for the food. I mean, to be honest with this food, we're going to put more weight on. He's doing all lasagnas and English breakfast and everything. So it was just a way, and we're going to start the walk off, and hopefully, families, survivors, supporters we're all walking together. And people are more than welcome. We're going to try and get it out on the internet. I'm not into Twitter and all that, and I'm not very good on anything like that. But get it out where people can maybe join us. Like, two of the main locations will be Bolton Wanderers football, the Reebok Stadium. That's a good challenge for anyone that's 25 miles, or the Showcase Cinema, which be a good 6 or 7 miles in. We're going to try and walk past Goodison as close as we can, because Everton are playing Manchester United, unfortunately, and that will coincide with the walk. And then we're going over to the Eternal Flame, trying to arrange some kind of a small service, which will hopefully involve children and relatives of the 96. And it'll be a thank you. I mean, we want people to we're going to do a Bruce Forsyth thing, walk a mile or give us a smile. It's as simple as that. Come with us, or just wave, and and we'll wave back and say thank you for what you've done for us for all these years. And it's taking place on Easter weekend, and looking forward to it. The three lads who do the Noise from the Boys, Jockey, with myself, owns Anfield FM, Tony Cavaney and Chris Tully are all doing the walk. They're all. But they haven't got what they're doing. They say they're doing the whole 96. What about Tony Cavaney?
Try and stop Tony.
He said he's going to sing all the songs.
He ran a half marathon. The Liverpool half marathon.
He'll do
Chris
it.
as well.
They're
off the ale and everything. They're serious.
I want to drop shaft him for that. He said he saved a load of money. No, but what it is, it's the sad thing about it. We tried to get people to. I'm going to have a go at myself, and they're walking the whole 96 miles. But unfortunately, because of the Everton game, the police, who obviously need to be involved, have reduced it by 5 hours. So we're going to probably more of a relay now, whereas for health and safety reasons, obviously, if anyone's having a go at the 96 and they're starting to have a bit of a struggle, well, they will be swept up and taken to the next point. But Tony tells me he's going to have a good go, so he's each way with that.
Can I just say as well that inspired by the walk, the Dublin lads, I was over in Dublin the other week where lads did the HJC Cup, Jerry Farrell and people from Irish Cop, and somebody came to speak to me and said they'd seen the walk, and they wanted to do something similar to show the Ireland kids. And we know, and I know Anne, I was used to be over in Ireland with Anne. We've always had great support from over in Ireland, and what they want to do is something much smaller, not on a scale, but and not on the 12th of April. 96 people to walk around Phoenix Park, and they're going to have shirts on, basically, Ireland remembering and walking for the 96. I just think it's a symbol, and it shows the support, how widespread the support is for that, So.
Well, actually, the young girl, her name's Charlie. Don't even ask me to ask her surname. It's one of them big long Irish ones. And I think one of them is going to be in Phoenix Park.
Yes,
it's 96 people for 96 minutes.
Simon is organising it, a guy called Simon.
It really has spread, hopefully, and again,
it's a symbolism.
Yeah, and it's a community. That's what it's about.
Yes.
On your March day, Anfield FM, because our lads are doing the walk, but for the in honour of the whole walk, as you arrive in Knowsley, coming on the East Lancs, just as you come over the brow from St Helens, We're going to be there with a load of flags and banners and everything to welcome you into Merseyside, and anyone who's listening who wants to come and join us there on Easter Sunday, approximately midday, would that be 11?
We're hoping a bit early. We're hoping around about 10 o'clock at the showcase, because the police have said we've got to be back at Anfield and dispersed by 1 o'clock. So around about 10 o'clock you'll still get a bit of breakfast at the McDonald's.
Well, 10 at showcase, but 9 on the East Lancs just as you get into Knowsley there, and there's a massive big sidewalk. It's a dual carriageway, the East Lancs, if anyone doesn't know, but there is a load of space for people to come, and we want to get a load of banners and really welcome everyone into Merseyside. So just a brilliant story and a brilliant thing to do for everyone.
Just while we got Steve talking, the Everton Memorial at Goodison, do you know much about that and how it come about?
Well, what it was...
Could I start that, because Steve's being modest here, because no, Steve, in fairness, and all I'm going to say is that the idea was Steve's, and Steve moved on it. Steve moved on it and in a very practical way. So.
To be fair, I don't want to sort of spoil it. It was meant to be a surprise, you see, because what it was, I was inspired actually by the memorial in town. You know, I'm sort of getting a bit emotional now, because every time I see that memorial in town, I get all upset. But I remember the day when it was unveiled, and you know, Sheila and I and other members of the HCC, we'd seen Tom Murphy create it from a maquette, I think it's called, and you know, or a drawing, sorry.
Yes.
And it was on the back of an embassy packet, and then it went to a maquette, and then it went to clay, and then it went to the cast, and we see it unveiled. It was lovely, and I just always wanted to, being an Evertonian, just wanted to see, you know, Everton Football Club and Everton supporters sort of to be acknowledged for the support they've given over the years. And you know, because you go to Anfield or whatever, and you see that you know, it used to be a few dots of blue shirts, but now there's lots and lots of them, and you know, the Reds fans have embraced us every time we've been over, and you know, it's been good. So to coincide with the walk, started talking to Tom, and I done a little brief drawing, and Tom tidied it up, and you know, we put the idea to Everton, who are looking at it, and we're hoping that it's going to be in place very, very soon. You know, I was trying to get it to coincide with the end of the walk, but unfortunately that never occurred. So you know, but it is great, and again, it's about, you know, for me as a bereaved member of Hillsborough, you know, as 96 families, we've worked hard as we can all these years, and I think back to John and Anne, my sister, you know, lots of other people that have gone, sadly. We wouldn't be in court in Warrington now if it wasn't for survivors. And you know, just in a small way of, you know, saying that, you know, as an Evertonian, you know, we've always been there for you, and we will be always there. I say that as an Evertonian, not as a brief, and you know, and we will be. And it was just, I would have just liked something to be in there. So, but the surprise was slightly spoiled. But there you go. It's already open now.
Do you know whereabouts it's going to be?
Don't tweet it.
No, do you know whereabouts tomorrow it's going to be?
Don't ask me them personal questions. No, we at the moment, no, I honestly don't. It's still sort of in the...
Still up in the air. Right, is there anything else anybody like to add before I just bring Dom in for a little chat? No? I'll come over here, Dom. A bit closer, lad.
You just ask where the passport officers.
Just stand up. It's
all right, yeah.
He's got a booming voice, this
Right, Dom, I'm pretty sure you've been asked all these questions before, but you mentioned before Jason asked you to do the song. At first, did you think he was serious, or did you think he was just trying to wind you up type thing?
No, I knew he was serious, but it was just one of them. I mean, it's hard to write a song. I mean, I've wrote like songs before, and they take like a month or two to perfect and get it sorted. So for him to ask me to write a song that, you know, I had to go out and research about, because obviously growing up and being a Scouser, you know about Hillsborough, but I didn't know personally about Anne's fight and the struggle that she had. So I had to go away and research that in a week, and then write a song that I felt fitted that situation.
And was it, as you heard an interview done on FCTV, was the first time you actually played it? Was that night?
Well, I had finished it, began writing it the Saturday night. The gig was on the Sunday. I'd finished it the Sunday morning and didn't have time to play it through. So the first time I played it was in the taxi club.
Did you have the words written on your hand in case you forgot them?
I had a little music stand up with all the words on it in front of me.
It's brilliant. How old are you, mate?
17.
17, and you produce a piece of music like that.
He's a good Kirkdale lad as well, this fella, aren't you?
You know, it's...
Firelight.
Listen, I'm claiming him. I'm claiming him for
I'm from
Kirkdale.
Kirkdale. That's from Leighton. It doesn't count.
Thank you, Dominic.
I'd say for a 17-year-old lad to produce a piece of music as moving and as beautiful as that.
16.
16, I did.
16.
I was 15 before that.
But can I just say, I saw him, I said this before you came in, before we started tonight, but I saw you supporting Damien Dempsey at the Casimir in October, and anyone who knows me knows I'm a massive Damien Dempsey fan, but you give him a run for his money. I was really bowled over by it.
Yeah, so obviously, Paul said before you want to do a lawyer, but just music, just a hobby on the side. Is that just something you do? Or?
Well, I mean, even when I'm in uni and I'll still be doing music, and I'll still be in I'll still have me back on bands and I'll still be playing.
Where do you play?
Everywhere.
Let's give yourself a little promotion, man. You
play the big,
yeah, but that's a cover set in the beer cellar. I've got a big gig announcement coming out Thursday morning.
You don't want to give us an exclusive, Dom?
Yeah, go
We're
ahead.
saving that for the Anfield rap.
Pressure.
Don't let them get to
I'm
you.
not going to let them
Don't
get to
say
me. No, I can't say anything at the minute. But it'll be announced 10 o'clock on Thursday morning, so you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook and everything, and it'll be getting announced on the Twitter.
So, as you said before, you're never told me. How do you think your Blues have done this year? You happy with that?
I mean, I think it's done alright. I mean, to be honest, I don't really follow the footy at all. My dad was a Blue, but I'm a Blue.
You do, you know?
I'm more into the boxing. But I mean, you know, I watch Match of the Day and that, so I'm up to date with everything.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead,
Can I ask you how much your music is influenced by traditional Irish music?
It's quite a bit, you know. I mean, coming from a quite a Republican upbringing, I've grew up with all the Wolf songs and all the proper the all Irish stuff.
Yeah. Fair play. We have got another guest at the back who's kept his mouth shut for the whole hour and 10 minutes, and it's Sean. Obviously, Sean's been a massive campaigner for over the years. Come here, mate. Sean, how did you get... Well, first of all, obviously we know why you got involved in a fight, but what have you actually done down in London by yourself when you were down there all the years?
Yeah, bits and bobs, like, you know, I'm not... you know, I get the bread from my missus when she tells me to go to shops and stuff, but, you know, I'm just good at doing stuff, you know. I don't want to be modest, probably comes across as modest, that, but, you know, I'm a salesman, I sell stuff for a living, and I changed it over to this, what we do here. So I'm good at, like... I mean, I used to hand out leaflets about 15 years ago, and no one took them, and I used to think, why aren't they taking them? And they were crap, is why they weren't taking them. So I made them colour, and people took them, every single one of them. I couldn't get rid of them, you know, they were just taking them, hundreds of them. So I started doing my pictures, I started taking pictures off the internet. When the internet started becoming big, I realised that was the way forward. That's why I'm always on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. But I'm also in London as well, and it is a little bit easier. I see you in London, yep. Sheila, and you know, I said to you today, didn't I? We talked about Sheila and how people, you know, when she goes down and they listen, and I, although never would be like that, you've got to get them interested in what you're doing, and if you can go back to what you were saying before in relation to where we are now as to where we were then, you know, I never ever get moved on now by the police, ever. They don't even talk to me anymore. You know, whereas before they'd take me leaflets, they'd take me banners, they'd move us on, you know, and it was always the Hillsborough lot. It was always you, Hillsborough lot. I was at I think I can say this. It's not about what's happening now. I was at an anti-EDL march at Downing Street last year, and I had my black T-shirt on with the HJC on it, and I was standing by the cenotaph, and there was a little bit of trouble, you know, between the far right and us, and this lad just goes there, the copper goes, you know, oh, you should know better than standing there next to all them people. There's going to be a crush, and you of all people should know better. And I was really shocked. Yeah, I don't get shocked that easy, but I was really shocked at this. And then I realised we're still up against it. Yeah. Even now, we're still up against it. The red and paper really wound me up. and I'm going to be a bit controversial, the Grand National really wound me up. 25 years ago, not a year ago. It didn't happen a year ago. It happened 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And the Grand National, where were they? What have they done? No disrespect if they're listening, But I mean, I don't go to the National. I don't really gamble. But I mean, that's just that's just me.
Sean,
I'm a bit of a shock jock.
Well, can I just say with Sean is that whenever you mentioned about, say, going to things, and I've been invited to things in London and invited to speak like at conferences and stuff, and what's so brilliant, I get there and I walk into something where there's a great big banner, a justice banner and various leaflets, whatever. So he's done the job before you get there. So he is modest, because for years, sort of we liaised without even knowing. I didn't even really know who he was, but he'd set things up for you, and he's always done things quietly. But he's someone who gets things done. And from the HJC, I'd like to thank him for all he's done over the years.
Just on that point about Sean getting things done, I think the biggest testament was actually the Don't Buy the Sun posters at Wembley. Now, Sean...
That wasn't just me, though.
No, I know what I'm saying is the actually... the idea.
He's waiting on another lad, Drew or something. Yeah, do you want to come around here?
The thing is, the Wembley the other year, the amazing thing there was how it was organised, and it wasn't. Sean can talk about this, but the devil's in the detail, and the organisation of it was crucial, and it was organised brilliantly. So, do you want to?
Well, we did do. Who did we play down the South Coast that year? The first round,
Exeter.
We divvied on Exeter, didn't we? First, we thought, let's see what it's like, because I was sitting in work, and I must mention, and I know he's listening, my boss in London, Cockney, although he's Birmingham lad, but he's now lived in London all the time. He's paid thousands of pounds to get my printing done, and I used to do it in work, and he's listening now, so I may as well tell him what I used to do. I used to print it. I used to print 1,000. He won't sack me, he loves me. I used to print 1,000 leaflets, but I'd put Val on Your Road on the computer, so that when it printed, it wouldn't say Justice for the 96, it'd say Val on Your Road, so no one in my works knew that I was printing stuff for this. And then one day I accidentally printed an A3 piece, right? And I don't care. I accidentally printed an A3 piece, and it came out, and I thought, that looks brilliant, because we were having the little ones,
Yes.
And then I thought, well, we're going to Exeter, so we printed 1,000, because we only had 1,000 fans, and everyone had one, and it was brilliant.
Yes.
And it wasn't me then who decided to do Wembley, but I just thought it looked good. And the best picture I've ever seen to this day, it's on your Facebook page and mine,
Yes.
is the young lads, all the young lads, the smoke around them, the pure,
So
I don't want to say anger, anger's not the right word, is it?
It's power.
Passionate.
It's passion and power.
And of them just standing there, and you
Yes.
know they're singing
Yes.
Justice for the 96, and it's just, and then I go home and I think, oh yes,
That is a
brilliant.
classic
We were there,
photograph. That's an
Brilliant,
award-winning
isn't it?
photograph
Yeah.
in my estimation.
I think it will be in years to come.
Yes,
I think
yeah.
a lot of
Yes,
photos
yeah.
that are taken
Yeah.
over the years will be, maybe award-winning, but when we are, I can't get into political stuff, can I? Justice for the 96.
When the revolution comes.
Yeah, when the revolution comes.
Just had a little text through off Peter Farrow. He said Sean had Hard Park, corner, boxed off at the TUC Mart, completely swamped, with left wing.
I remember it well. I was struggling to give out leaflets. I had like 5,000 leaflets, and I'd gone on my scooter, and my back was done in because I've had a disc out my back. Right, bit of sympathy there. And I remember, and cheers, Sid. And I remember handing them out and thinking, I'm not going to last, because I'd already done the march. I'd done the march down the left-hand side and put stuff on the walls and the trees. And then I thought, that looks really good. So I thought, well, I'll do the other side. So by the time the march got off, I'd already done it twice, the left and the right-hand side. And by the time I got to Speaker's Corner, I was shattered. And all the little hoolies with the hoodies and that were running round. And I had me height and fatty hoodie with the Solidarity. And of course the busies were coming over and saying, hey, what's going on? Because I had a hoodie. But then I met them all and they all took me leaflets and done it for me, and I went home. I was shattered that day, mate.
I'll just finish off the text.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, but,
I thought you asked me. He's not going to slag me off, is he?
No. Said Sean had Hard Park corner boxed off for the big TUC march, completely stomped all the left wing groups with his one-man campaign. Brilliant, top fella.
Yeah. They helped us as well, like. It wasn't just me.
So I'm going to try and finish the show for 7:30. We have a little bit over. But one question I want to open up to all of you is, what is your version of justice? Now, I got my best mate for his sins is an Evertonian, and his girlfriend is from North Wales, Llandudno, ironically. And she asked me what it was, what my version of justice was. And my answer was, my version of justice is when I know all the campaigners and all the families can rest thinking everyone knows the truth. Now, obviously, between family members, campaigners, survivors, everyone's is going to be different version of justice. Cole, can I ask you what yours would be? anyone who's want to open it.
Well, most probably, me personally, and I'm sort of very much the same feelings, it's when those responsible for the lies and the cover-up have been brought to justice, whether it be criminal, exposed, or whatever. It's like you say, getting the truth out there, and mind you, I shouldn't be saying that, but you know, whatever's gone on or whoever's done it, as long as they're exposed and the public know about it, and a suitable punishment is given out, whatever it be, in my eyes that'll be the justice.
Steve?
For me, it's accountability. I think everybody who for the 25 years has done what they've done and know what they've done, I think every one of them should be brought to account, and I can't wait for the day that they are.
I think for me, just like Steve said, I think it is around accountability, but for it to go further, I think that it's not, that lessons have to be learned, but the changes are implemented, which leads to a fairer, better society for all. So it's not about just sorting it for our little corner, if you like. It's about changing things, changing injustices in such a way that these things don't happen, and it's about people being accountable. I think, sadly, if I'm being totally honest, I think there will be people who will live their life feeling they've never got justice, and that is a measure of the damage and the trauma done to them because of the Hillsborough disaster, that they will never accept anything as justice, and I think that's wholly understandable.
Sean?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to go past that, isn't it, really? Do you know? I mean, it's just, we done a poster. Remember when we went to town, and it was just shame on those that hid the truth and prolong the agony for everybody. And that's it, really. Just shame on them. I know they're not going to listen to this, like, but you know, to
they'll be listening. Don't
yeah, well, I know that. I've got something else to tell you when we get outside as well. But yeah, I mean, they've sat at home for 25 years knowing the truth. So for me, it's justice, and follow them till the day I die. Till the day I die.
Steve?
Well, good. I think first and foremost, I echo everyone's sentiments there. But I think as a family member, I don't think we'll ever get justice. I don't think the survivors, the 25,000 men, women and children that went over there that day, will get the justice. But on a personal level, and I don't want to go too sort of heavy here, but if anybody is made accountable that day by the courts, I'd like to see them pay in some way, you know, even if that's being stripped of honours that you've being given massive pensions that you've lived off for all these years. It's taken back retrospectively, because the suffering that people have had through Hillsborough has been tremendous, and you know, the odd ones, without naming names, have had a very good life for these years, and I do hope that, you know, their pensions, their titles are taken off them, and they go down in history for what they've done, and that includes the Prime Minister of the day, and you know, all them ones we're accusing. I hope they go down in history for what they actually are, liars.
Well, I think I was agreeing with everyone. You know, you want some kind of punitive damage done and action taken against those who are accountable, who've destroyed so many lives. But I think the point Sheila made was absolutely brilliant. Wouldn't it be great to live in a Britain where this sort of thing can't ever happen again? Not that accidents can't happen and disasters and people make mistakes and all the rest of it, but that such an enormous cover-up that has just brought so much pain to so many people can never happen again. The Lawrences are still going through it now, being investigated, and same with the Hillsborough campaign, it's being investigated by the police, and you're a victim. It's just outrageous. No right thinking society can ever accept that as being even remotely acceptable. But that's gone on in Britain, with one of the most forward thinking countries in the world. So I agree with Sheila. Something, yeah, everyone needs to be held accountable, but beyond that, just that it can't ever happen again. It just can't ever happen again.
Right, I think on that note I will end the show. I'd like to thank Ian, Steve, Sheila, Sean, Steve and Paul for doing the show, and especially Dominic for playing his tunes. I am Steve Martin, that was the Flagpole Corner, and we will see you in 3 weeks, because the show next week's meant to be on the 15th, but obviously we won't be doing one then. So the next show will be on the 22nd, and we will hopefully have Boss Mag and Keith Newton on, with a bit of luck. Right, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Hey. Well done there, mate.